The one that we have to start off with, though, Dalton, is quarterback, which was a very difficult decision. And I know a lot of people are kind of between two guys for the Heisman Trophy right now. We are going with Michael Penix Jr., the Washington quarterback, as our midseason All-American quarterback. And Dalton, what have you seen from the sixth-year senior so far this season?
To be honest, everything. You've got a guy who is the top-graded quarterback in the country, top passing grade, best in a clean pocket. You think you can get to him and you can fluster him. He's got the 12th best pressured grade in the country. He's in the top 10 in deep balls and intermediate balls and short balls. He's an excellent play action passer. He fits that team perfectly. He spreads it to all his weapons, and he can throw on or off any platform you want. He's got everything. And right now, I think I was looking for a word for it before. I would call him the most efficient passer in the country. It just so rarely makes a mistake. They have such just a lethal vertical element with the three big receivers they have. And even on a day, last week you can point to Washington only beating Arizona by 7. Again, it's about sometimes winning without your best foot forward, and they still ran for 4 touchdowns. And an off day for Penix still has over 360 yards and going roughly 30 for 40, completing roughly 76% for over 360 yards. If he had 2 touchdowns in that game throwing, nobody would bat an eye. It's only because he didn't have a touchdown, but that's not to say he didn't play well. It was just a matter of game plan, game script. But he's been the most efficient quarterback in the country. And for those, I know we'll get a ton of rap for why not Caleb Williams, 22 touchdowns, 1 pick, and all this stuff. The underlying metrics on Williams, and I know that's not often how Heisman votes and All-American teams are voted on. The underlying metrics for Williams are starting to get a little concerning. It's starting to look like he's pressing because his team, especially on defense, is flawed. Over the last 3 weeks, Williams' passing grade is a 70.6. with 2 big-time throws and 7 turnover-worthy plays.
Wow.
So on the surface, everything at USC looks great. But you're starting to see, it's weird with the Mahomes comparison, because now this is starting to look a little more like Mahomes at Texas Tech as the gunslinger, as the guy under pressure who will just try to fit the ball into every window. The rest of Caleb Williams' season is going to be intriguing because a lot of times with the underlying metrics, the regression starts to happen towards them. And trust me, I'm not saying by any means he shouldn't be the number 1 pick in the draft. He should, right? But right now, Penix is the way more efficient passer, the cleaner passer. And being that he's the number 1 passer in our grading, I would agree with Penix in this spot right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You look at, that stat right there, Penix right now, second in the country behind Shedeur Sanders in passing yards with 2,004. Shedeur has 15 more passing yards than Michael Penix Jr., despite having 121 more dropbacks than Michael Penix Jr. So Michael Penix Jr. really, he had a bye week. If he didn't, he'd be easily leading the nation in passing yards right now. Big test for him this week. Big test for Caleb Williams this week as well. Penix has got Oregon on the slate. Caleb Williams has Notre Dame. Really good defense Notre Dame has, even with the struggles they've had so far this season. That will, I think, determine how those two play. That could determine next week our midseason award. So we're not, this is not the end-all, be-all All-American team because, of course, those are 2 huge games. So we might change our Heisman pick next week. But right now, I would agree with you. Michael Penix Jr. would be my Heisman pick. And right now, he has been the best quarterback in college football.